university, kissing up to a senior professor, he was much better at a stool in the patent office, trying to daydream about what is it like to ride alongside a light beam.
From that job, he would launch a revolution which would change world history.
Einstein's idle daydreams will profoundly change the way the universe is understood. In 1905, in what's been called his miracle year, he publishes in his spare time 4 visionary papers, the first of which answers the age-old question, what is light?
The photoelectric effect. This paper, written by this total unknown, showed that light comes as a particle called the photon. We use that in television, we use that in lasers.
In another paper, the 26-year-old Einstein posits something we now take for granted, the existence of atoms.
People didn't believe in atoms in those days, but he proved that atoms can actually make small little dust particles move in a liquid. And he calculated the size of atoms.
These papers would have been a remarkable career for any physicist, but Einstein is far from finished.
He writes yet another paper with the famous equation E equals mc squared.
At the simplest level, this means energy can become matter, and matter can become energy. The tiniest speck of matter holds potentially huge amounts of energy. Unleashing it requires a nuclear reaction, the sort going on constantly in the night sky.
Ever since people began to look up in the heavens, they would say, what makes the stars shine? But it took Albert Einstein to answer the question. Mass, M, turns into E, energy. That is the engine that lights up the stars.
Today, E equals mc squared is Einstein's most famous equation. But another theory he publishes this same year is more important and more controversial, the special theory of relativity. When Einstein was a teenager, he enjoyed imagining what it would be like to ride a beam of light. Now, he returns to this daydream, and it changes his life.
In the spring of 1905, Einstein was riding on a bus, and he looked back at the famous clock tower that dominates Bern, Switzerland. And then he imagined, what happens if that bus were racing near the speed of light?
In his imagination, Einstein looks back at the clock tower, and what he sees is astonishing. As he reaches the speed of light, the hands of the clock appear frozen in time.
Einstein would later write, a storm broke in my mind. All of a sudden, everything kept gushing forward.
Einstein knows that back at the clock tower, time is passing normally. But on Einstein's light-speed bus, as he reaches the speed of light, the light from the clock can no longer catch up to him. The faster he races through space, the slower he moves through time. This insight sparks the birth of Einstein's special theory of relativity, which says that space and time are deeply connected. In fact, they are one and the same, a flexible fabric called space-time. Sitting alone on a city bus, Einstein believes he has glimpsed a secret of the universe.
For Einstein, space was this place where stuff was, and it didn't do anything. It had stuff in it. And so space combined with time to become space-time is a more dynamic understanding of this arena that everything takes place in. It's becoming more alive in a way. He's saying very, very outlandish and very, very strange things.
Rarely had anything so radical been submitted to Europe's most prestigious scientific journals.
He was a complete outsider to the physics of his day, as he was, being in Switzerland, being a patent clerk, and yet he was ambitious enough to think that he could challenge the whole of the established physics at the time.
You always hope that there will be total euphoria, that everybody will say this is a huge step forward in the subject. But that rarely happens.